So, what do you think about this whole project?
So, start to finish, probably aggressive. I think the collaboration between AH4R, KS2, Hyphen, it's probably the best I've seen in a project. I don't know that I've ever seen the business as engaged in any project I've ever done. They were driving it. They were ahead of us at certain times, pushing the technology, just going, hey, where's this, where's this, where's this? And I think your team and my team responded well to that. And we drove at different times as we're driving the technology, the Oracle Cloud, Oracle Integration Cloud, SSO to ping, integration with our platform, the 4 platform. There's just a lot. There was a lot.
Yeah, it was. And, I go back to that text that you sent in October, and hey, this is what we're doing. And I'm going, okay, yeah, this is possible, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy, but this is possible. And then you and I talked, and then before long, we're starting jumping right in, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the business engagement. You brought that up a couple times.
Yeah. I think the legacy that we had when I got there, we were working on top of a custom Microsoft Dynamics builder app that really wasn't built for purpose, right? It was okay, but it did not fit the industry. It didn't, we had a lot of problems with our suppliers and just the challenges of a custom system like that really wasn't performing the way it was supposed to. So the business, who most of them had worked in home building in one way or another, had a lot of experience with a number of tools, JD Edwards being one of them. And so when we went through the product selection and selected JD Edwards, they were excited, they were motivated, they wanted to get there because they'd been living in an environment that they knew could be better if they were in a different platform. And so they really drove to completion. They were excited about it, they really wanted it, and that made it a lot easier.
Yeah, from my perspective, Robert, Brent, these guys were fantastic. Financial guys, Dan, Brian, they were fantastic. They made a difference, right?
For sure.
Without that tight engagement, it's really hard to have success and the outcomes that you want. Even if you and I as a team are pushing hard every single day, if they're not, then we're going to fall short.
Yeah, and not to minimize the effort of your team and my team. I mean, CJ and Adam and others on my team, and Jason came in and was instrumental in getting the ball across the line. And so, but we're used to, I think, driving and pulling our way through all these kinds of projects without business support, right? So I think the reason why I'm so impressed by the business support was it made what could have easily been a 2-year project a 9-month project, right?
I think that's an excellent point. Our experience is, and people that are at this conference, you'll hear stories of 2-year, 3-year, people still going, right?
Right.
And when I think about what we accomplished in 9 months, it blows my mind, honestly, because all the technologies that we need at the same time, right? So Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, net new JD Edwards installation, OIC, Oracle integration with Hyphen.
But we had to reintegrate to Hyphen.
We had to redo it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
For Wilco and supply.
Yeah.
We had the Yardi piece. And then not only did we have to do that, but we had to integrate with your existing Azure Active Directory. We had to connect into your Azure Cloud. We had to get MID and everything all connected with JD Edwards, Security Workbench. I mean, these are about 10 major technical hurdles that we jumped over as part of this project in record time. So those are things that a lot of the other partners, they're just not doing, or if they do, it's just taking too long to do, and that's why they get stuck, and that's why they go 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, and kind of scratching their head. So it's a good thing. But at the end of the day, you guys, because it was a migration from Microsoft Dynamics, the data was so big. It was pretty difficult,
Right.
Because it didn't exist in the way that we needed in JDEdwards.
Right.
So we wanted to do takeoffs, right? So it's basically bills of material. And we wanted more finite, discrete looks at the actual items, and the data didn't exist.
Right.
So we couldn't do that, right? And you guys couldn't do that. So that's where that business engagement we're talking about, and that's where that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and that's where Angela was instrumental, right?
Angela was fantastic.
Right.
Angela, that whole team was dedicated to making that successful.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Can you guys hear us okay?
Oh yeah.
Do
Loud and clear.
I sound monotone?
Just nice and relaxed. Like honestly, just if all you're doing right, it's a casual conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're actually just having nobody's around.
Exactly.
Yeah, but all the activities behind you, you can tell us.
Exactly. And then it sounds really good.
Sounds
Cool.
good.
Yeah. If you want to keep talking, or a couple other points you want to highlight, about different subjects, about your company.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to get on film for him that I think would be good for him. So Phil, let's talk a little bit about your full platform, because I think this is a huge vision that you have. And KS2, we have our own home builder cloud platform, which is really designed for the built-to-rent, built-to-sell markets, right? And then tell us a little bit more about what you're doing with your platform.
So when I arrived at American Homes, there was a lot that was done in custom dynamics, right? And sort of did an evaluation of what we could do with the platform, what was right about it, what was wrong with it. Obviously, we've been very successful on the platform that was in place, but as I looked at it and as I talked to other leaders in the organization, it wasn't going to scale, right? It wasn't going to be able to move at the pace that we want to move. And so we took a conscious decision to start over and pulled everything back and said, okay, if I was starting a company today, what would my technology vision be? It'd be cloud first, API first, cybersecurity first, right? Mobile first. So it'd be modern architecture, driving the edges of what was out there. And so we went about building that and started with our website and started with the underlying kind of prospect experience. And over the course of the last 2.5 years, we've built 48 different pure microservices that are domain-driven design. They're all event-based. The architecture is clean. We actually track our technical debt in a backlog of its own to say, hey, here's some things we want to come back and fix to keep the architecture pure. We've built adapters to the systems that don't speak modern architecture. They don't speak RESTful APIs. So we had to build our own adapters, and certain systems are too chatty or whatever. And so we did a lot of work on that. And all of that is really just to build the foundation so that we can move at the pace of the business, right? Because as I like to explain to my team, there's kind of two roadmaps that we're working on, right? There's a business roadmap, and the business roadmap, has lots of consistency, but it has lots of variance, right? Hey, we want to try something new. We're not going to do that. Oh, we want to try something new. Well, it exploded, and we're building houses, and we're the 41st biggest builder in the country all of a sudden, right? And so the entrepreneurial spirit of our company needs to have a technology foundation that can move at its pace. And so these microservices and event-based architectures gives us the ability to bolt on or pull, or bolt off at whatever pace that we want to. And so the integrations that we needed to get into Yardi from the JDEdwards implementation, they weren't hard. I mean, they took the same amount of SDLC and QA and that anything would, but we didn't have to rework our infrastructure to do it. It was all sitting waiting for the Oracle Integration Cloud, right? So as it starts to fire information to us or to Hyphen or whatever, we were ready for it, right? So it's really thinking of us as a software company, inside a real estate company, right?
I like that. Yeah, we just had a meeting at Seminar where they were talking about how you need to think of yourself as a media company first, and then a X next.
Right.
So it's right along with the same mindset.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, I've heard the same thing around you have to think of yourself as a technology company no matter what industry you're in, because if you're not thinking about technology, you're already obsolete, right? Because you've got to be able to move at the pace of change that's occurring, because disintermediation is a real thing. So
yeah, and these microservices, you're decoupling all this kind of complex logic and making them smaller, finite, so that you can then connect them with
Yep.
different things the way you need to and adapt quicker.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That was a
great.
mouthful.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That was really good.
A lot of great content right there.
Awesome.
That was great information. The first one, you guys were, I